Hello. Welcome to Understanding the Unhoused. My name is Joshua. Through a series of interviews with the unhoused community and the people that support it, my intention is to increase the awareness of and empathy for our unhoused community. I moved to California in 2019 from Boston. I was immediately struck by the visibility of the problem and have since become committed to assisting the unhoused in any way I can. I realized that the best way to help them is to increase the understanding of them, so people can see what it's like to live outside, what it's like day to day, what it's like to do the things that those of us who are not unhoused take for granted all the time. I'd like to give a very large amount of props to my girlfriend, Wendy. You will hear her on interviews. She has the very sweet voice of an angel. She has supported me throughout this entire project, and I cannot thank her enough for encouraging me to move forward. All right, enough ado. Please enjoy the episode. When I first moved to California back in 2019, I got involved with a group called Renegade Feedings that were based out of Fremont. Every other weekend, they would go out to homeless encampments throughout the Fremont, Union City, Newark, Tri-City area, and they would give out hygiene supplies, food supplies, water to those that needed it, just to help the unhoused be as comfortable as they possibly can be. It is not an easy life to live. And Renegade Feedings was dedicated to helping these people. And this is how I became originally inspired with all of the unhoused activity that I saw around me. I just felt overwhelmed with a need to do something about it, and Renegade was a very, very good outlet. It was just run by a bunch of kids who met in college. They were all in their 20s, and they just wanted to help people, and it was very inspiring. Unfortunately, Renegade broke up around this time of last year, so like April, May of last year, mainly because people were just going in different directions. Everyone had their own lives. Everyone had their own issues, responsibilities. Some people moved, like me, out of Fremont and were not able to continue volunteering their time. So, but I know that the people involved still help as much as they can. Irene mentions one of them during this interview. So during my time with Renegade, I would run into Irene on a regular basis. She is the matron of a unhoused encampment, and she's the one that everyone goes to when they need food or assistance with anything. She is able to get supplies into the encampment. She has a lot of connections, and I just figured she would be a really good first interview because, she's been doing this for a very long time. I will give you a bit of a heads up. Some of her questions are a little all over the place, but just understand that she is very with it, very together, and knows how things go down there. This was the first time she had ever been interviewed, so she's a little bit nervous. I did edit as best I could, make sure her answers made sense, and I feel like it is a very insightful and unique perspective into the unhoused community. So please enjoy. Can you tell me the circumstances that first led you to be unhoused?
Well, okay, let's say. I had lost my job due to many reasons, but I was probably about 30 years ago, and I am 64 now, so I have to be honest about it and say that I felt myself being exploited, and started noticing people coming into my life that I didn't really know, because I was a single mother at that point. I had just moved into my apartment, and then just noticed that things were strange in my apartment, and noticed that someone was filming me, watching me and so forth. So before I knew it, I was on disability and didn't have really too much support, so I didn't really know too many people, but except for the people I worked with. I was at a very, very good corporation, and I felt that I noticed that I was being filmed and so forth, and that drew attention to me. I was able to hear through, like, it was like the walls were talking to me, and so forth. I mean, I know I had probably a little bit of a mental issue at that point when I had taken some time off from work and attempted 3 times to go to work, and had a lot of voices talking to me, which was not my diagnosis. I was considered, on paper, they titled me as schizophrenic, but I didn't have the characteristics of a schizophrenic. So I've just been trying to prove my sanity to most people, but and I've been fighting against it all this time. So, and now it's coming to light that all the questions that I had. So I just want people to know that those things do happen to women, and it's on the. I'm making the best of what has happened now, and I'm getting a lot more support by being vocal about it. And I want people who are homeless or young girls of any sort to realize that those kind of things happen. You get help, and I didn't get help by keeping quiet, so that worked out best for me, and through the support of others. Through the city and so forth, they've really helped us a lot.
How long have you been unhoused?
I've been homeless for like 30 years, about 30 years. Yeah, I didn't really say anything to anybody. So the people that I used to come out to feed myself, living with my son, when I was raising my son, I befriended just through bringing hot coffee and tea and stuff like that in the wintertime and some food. I ended up being one of those people that I lost my apartment, my storage, everything, my memorabilia, because I lost my job finally. I went outside to the same people I used to feed, and they took me under their wing and helped me out every night and got me the resources, blankets and stuff like that. So they watched over me, which was a nice thing. Most of those people are gone now, so... So I've been out here ever since. I came here actually to help with the cats, the need of feral cats, to get them neutered and spayed. I had a friend that took care of them, so he had like 100 cats. Daily he used to get the food from the store, the free meat that they would give away, come home and cook it. And so he's gotten older now, and he moved on. He's in a senior home now, and so he's being taken care of. Longevity runs in his family, so he'll live to be 104 or 5, like his mom and dad were.
Wow.
So I took over his camp, which isn't the same camp anymore, but it was a lot of cleaning and so forth. He's indoors now, and so I became the connection for getting stray and feral cats neutered and spayed. So we have a handle on it now, so I get them put up for adoption.
Were you diagnosed by a psychiatrist with schizophrenia, and how did that lead to you like losing your job and a place to live?
Because I had to go through work. Went through to a psychiatrist, and they couldn't find a diagnosis really to give me, but it sounded, because she asked me the questions of, do you hear the TVs? Do you talk to the TV? And I said yes. And does the TV talk to you? And I go yes. And so she had to label it something, but I never had ongoing treatment, because I didn't really feel like I was crazy. I am crazy probably by now. But I'm in an environment where, it's not such a big deal to talk to yourself,
Everybody does.
A lot of people do, and so I just wasn't, I was labeled as a schizophrenia, and that's always been my diagnosis. Last night, someone's mentioned to me, they said that you don't even act crazy. You don't look like you're crazy or act like crazy. Well, I don't. Most people don't. A lot of times they can. They hear me once in a while, but I hear them more. But I deal with it. I'm trying to make a positive out of a negative, and through people understanding by me speaking, which I kept a lot of that information to myself. I didn't really speak on it too much. I'm just starting to feel comfortable with doing that, But it's kind of kept me out of relationships for like 30 years. I've never been in another relationship because of it. So, and I'm okay with that. I feel secure with who I am. There was a purpose for that, was just to so young girls would be kind of spared, not have to be subjected to those ugly things that happen out there in an environment like this, And I keep an eye out for a lot of them, and so some of them choose to do whatever they want to do, and then there's girls that I need to express that to, so that they become. I really stress education and everything to young people, like to get some kind of trade. So I don't want them to be out here for like 30, 20 more years themselves. So I've had the opportunity to go indoors, but I've given my position up for other women who have more of a medical need. So I'm at the latter part of my life anyway. So, I mean, it's more important for me. I have kids of my own, so I'm willing to sacrifice some of that.
Wow.
Plus, I don't have anyone yet to take care of my cats. So, that's another big issue.
Yeah.
I need to pass that on eventually.
What is the best thing people can do for an unhoused person when they first become unhoused and just ongoing?
You have to be selective on the people you choose to hang around, because there are downfalls to being out here and alone, just by nature. It could be a lot of pressure on a young girl or a woman or even a man. There's a lot of pressure. So you have that group, and they can support you with all your supplies, help you with supplies. The city helps a lot, and people like you yourselves come all the time. And since this COVID took place, have supported and brought supplies unimaginable. I mean, like, we couldn't have done it without a lot of those things. Sure, I would say the most beneficial thing to that is really your security first. And there are resources out there for people to get you tents and sleeping bags, supplies, hygiene, food. There are resources, and so you need to talk to, ask people around. They've got churches around here that have showers, and you can wash your clothes. And so, if you get a nice, tight group of people that you trust within distance of you, they help each other out, and that's where it really starts.
What do you think the most inaccurate perception of the unhoused is by people, the world out there?
That we're all thieves, and people do what they have to do sometimes to obtain food. And one thing I think that makes that happen is that when they get this, they get their food cards and so forth that offer some kind of assistance, for the GA, general assistance, and people lose a lot of things being homeless. So that's the first thing usually they lose. You're watched a lot. If you look like you're homeless, you're going to be watched a lot, in those stores, because they think everybody's, and that's not true. Like break-ins, like across the street, sometimes people try to break. It's not anybody here half the time, but we get looked at that way. The houses, like my car just got broken into. My windows got bashed by somebody. They just came over here and just started bashing all of our cars' windows in. So. And I got them all, finally got them replaced, all three of them, and they did it again the next night. So it's like, so I have 2 more windows I need to pay for, which, I'm going to have to wait until next month. So, didn't even know whose car they were. Just took a pole and started bashing all the windows of all 3 of our cars. So,
wow.
So things like that, people have a misconception of who we really are, what kind of people we really are, and it's unfortunate.
Do you have any experience in homeless shelters?
I've never been to one. They most of them have gone there and have stayed there, but they didn't seem to complain about it. I've never heard anything too negative about it.
Good.
I just thought it was just a place for, that it would be too loud. And, for myself, I suggest that somebody do that, to look for shelter, especially if you're a young girl or a young person. They really do have resources out there now. Like the navigation center now is 2 people from here are staying over there now, and they're just next on the waiting list to be housed. So they took the opportunity not to be out here. They have a curfew, and so it's really helped them a lot.
Can you talk about a time that somebody has helped you, that has just brightened your day?
All the people who contribute as yourselves. There's a group of kids that always come, and I have another one that works from the Aloni Society. That was they were part of the Renegades. The Renegades were the first ones to come out here, and shout out to the Renegades. And they helped a lot, and so they're really, really a positive group. And so one of the young girls she was working at the Aloni after the Renegades, and she comes with a bright smile all the time. And so she's moved on also too, but she comes sometimes on her own. It's just the smiles and the positiveness, because I'm so used to that coming from a corporation. That's how we interacted with each other. It was always a good, positive thing. It's always good morning, how are you? Can I help you? Anything is so much. It's so rewarding to see that. So I can't stress that enough. When you smile, the whole world smiles with you. So that's the attitude I see.
Nice.
The positiveness is something that just you can't replace.
What would you say the greatest benefit and the greatest drawback is of just being unhoused?
Oh, wow. Being exposed to nothing really is kind of scary to someone who's come from like maybe another town or something. But you meet a lot of different, it's really diverse. And I've worked in the corporate world, and so this is nothing what I thought it could be. It's made me more liberal, I guess, in what I see as being a problem, and being, as far as being safe and all that. You look at it from a different perspective, but it's usually not the ones that you should be fearing are the homeless. It's usually isolated incidences that people want to.
Yeah.
I was more afraid to be indoors than I've ever been to be outdoors, because I always felt someone was always going to break into your home. What are they going to take from you? What are they going to take from you out here, really?
Yeah, it's true.
And so I'm not as fearful as maybe others have been. And these people are people who are striving to be something better. And so just getting them the resources as far as a job and a car to get there is the rewarding part, because I help with getting them to and from their jobs sometimes, and so that's the rewarding part, that you can kind of fall back on all the resources that you've obtained throughout all the years in the corporate world and apply those now to the outside world. So it's the same basic care issues, the concerns that people have, so you can use those skills that you've obtained through your job and apply them outside here, and it is very helpful.
You said that you haven't been in a relationship this whole time, and I'm wondering, I've met some homeless women who've said they've been in relationships as protection, and I was just wondering what, especially before you found this place, like what you did for protection for yourself being alone.
I used to sleep on the behind the buildings and everything in the center of the city, so I felt safer. I used to sleep throughout all those around there, so I can work, during the daytime and make some extra money.
Oh.
So, and then I came out here because to help my friend. I feel safe now that I put a safety door in front of my tent. So
excellent.
it kind of helps.
How have you guys been dealing with the weather, with all the rain that, I mean, we haven't had for years, and now all of a sudden it's raining, seems like every other day?
Flooded. We've lost a lot. Food. I mean, we lost a lot of resources that way too, because people can't really get down here.
Yeah.
We're still flooded at that end of the creek.
Wow.
And a lot of people lost their clothes. And I went from door to door and asking the neighborhood. I just went up to garage doors that were open, and asked them if they had any clothes to donate, for my friends that had lost their clothes. And because they were further down on that end of the creek, and their whole tent is covered with water.
Gosh.
And so we got a lot of, 4 out of 5 houses that I stopped at gave us clothes. So we're really grateful we got the rain.
Everything is finally green, which it
Yeah.
hasn't been for a very long time.
It's going to
but
be a nice spring and summer.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
On the street, what is something someone who's listening could do for someone to be helpful to them, even if they're just passing them by? Or
just ask if they need anything or some help of some sort. I don't want to suggest that you just, people don't, either way, it doesn't matter if you're homeless or not. When someone's asking for donation, I know they're skeptic to ask to give them money, because, we have the stigma of drugs and hunger going on. But, ask them if they want something to eat, or just can they help them with something else, offer a blanket, or if they need clothes and they can, obtain them, help them out that way. Don't be so afraid to help people. We're not that bad.
Hi again. Thanks for listening. If you have any interest in contributing an interview with a member of the unhoused community or a community worker working with the unhoused community to get their stories and increase the awareness of and empathy for the unhoused, please go visit our website at understandingtheunhoused.org. Click on the contact button, and we will get back to you as soon as possible. We'll set something up and get things moving. I hope after listening to this episode, you will have a little more patience, a little more empathy, and a little better understanding of the unhoused.